Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Two trades today, UK 100, 1 to 5, GJ, not this one right here, 1 to 4. Now, you can see the title actually says unlucky trades, so you're probably thinking, what's unlucky about these two winning trades? So I'll get into that, why they were unlucky. And yeah, the 30-minute time frame has definitely been back. I mean, since I posted that last video, 34% in 2 weeks or something like that, they haven't slowed down. You know, this trade, I don't think, was in that video. And I'll see these two coming out, and there's been multiple other positions that have played out since then. So essentially these two trades, I put out the signal for both of them, pop that up on the screen. A couple people would have taken some profit on these and TPs on them, but the unlucky part of this was due to news both times. So here on UK 100 for this 1 to 5, I was aiming for a 1 to 6. There we go. And this was completely unscheduled news. Random meeting to do with tariffs with Trump and Xi Jinping. I don't know how you say his name, but they had a meeting. That was it. Literally nothing happened. It just said they're gonna talk. UK 100 absolutely crashes straight to stop loss. The worst part about this that stung the most was that if I was targeting a 1 to 5, it would have just hit beforehand. So this type of thing happens. You just have to move on from it. And yeah, the markets are always going to do awkward things like that. You have to make sure you don't take it personally or put what the markets are doing onto yourself. That's when problems start to arise. So keeping that unbiased psychology. And regardless of that, I'm going to break down these positions and why they were taken. So this one right here, the UK 100 price action was not the clearest before that. However, from all the way back here, I was looking for demands. This was the first one we got and it instantly took off. So why was I looking for demands in this situation? The first thing is just basing it off the recent price action. We took a huge crash to the downside, and when you see this across indices, if they're starting to move back up, the next place you're aiming for is overall highs regardless of what happens. The nature of the recent movement, however, heavy consolidation, followed by whenever we'd eventually find some sort of demand, breaking out to the upside. Now, this heavy consolidation and loads of orders building up, but still slowly moving to the upside, is just almost waiting for a break of that range. So this position here, we obviously had the zone, and before we enter this is what we were looking at. So we have liquidity in front of the zone's untapped, so there's nothing there to question. Now, the good thing about this was that liquidity just about took out this high before coming back to the zone. It didn't need to do that, but this was an extra confluence. Taking out highs, obviously looking bullish, that's what you want to see. So even if it just took out this high though, that makes it valid because that is the liquidity taking out its own high. That's the only part that has to be taken out for the trade to be valid. So this was just extra confluence. That was a good sign for us. And then entry here, very simple. It gave a nice bullish close. And then yeah, after that, slowly but surely the trade took off. And if you're targeting 1 to 5, you would have hit TP nice and simple. So that was that one. And yeah, just to look at this even further, this is completely unnecessary, but he even ends up retesting his own, still holding. So if you did take a re-entry, it then took off after that as well. So it just goes to show the strength of these zones, especially when you're trading a bullish indices such as UK 100. You're always going to take demands more or less whenever you see them. That's the way to trade an asset class like this. So that was UK 100. There is a second zone here that I'm actually waiting for. Hasn't tapped yet, so maybe by the time this video is up, it still won't be tapped, and this is essentially a free signal if you want to take this. So this zone, still looking for. This one's very nice. It's under all this liquidity. It's the bottom zone from this area in structure. There's no untapped zones underneath. So those ones are always powerful as well because it's essentially the best price to get in at, right? It's the lowest untapped zone. And so holding on here and then moving to the upside, it's not going to be a lower point the price reaches if the zone ends up winning. So bottom zones always have extra power, and that looks like a good trade. If it ends up giving a valid entry, of course, I'll definitely be looking to take that one. All right, this next trade here is GJ, this one for a 1 to 4, and I was targeting a 1 to 5 at the highs. So unfortunately, the same thing happened. This one right here, this was actually scheduled news. It was CPI, so you could have closed beforehand if you wanted to for however much profit this was in. But for the most part, we were more than far away enough. And the unfortunate part is, initial reaction was actually fine, but it ended up completely reversing the direction of JPY basket when it came out, and it just started absolutely bumping. And of course, the result of that will be GJ crashing to the downside. So this one ended up being a loss after that. You could have taken a break even here. However, for the most part, there was no real reason for me to take it. The news reversing JPY basket is not something you can really predict. It just so happened that's what it caused afterwards. But at the time of this trade, it hadn't really happened. We were just slowly moving around stop loss. And then afterwards, the true momentum came in for whatever happened that boosted the Japanese yen at that time. So again, another unfortunate one. If you took 1 to 4, you would have taken profits on this. So that was that. In terms of taking this trade, the price action was fairly obvious. There was actually a 1 to 10 directly before this, which I didn't take, but I guess I can include that as a little bonus. So carrying on with this one though, essentially the reasons behind this were very obvious. We had a demand zone. The last things we were doing was all bullish movement. We came down here, still respected these lows, and started pushing to the upside again. So of course the move we were going to be looking for was back towards these highs, and we didn't even have to take out the highs for the 1 to 5, so it was close around that area. In terms of the zone, nice untapped zone, and liquidity right here took out its own high very nicely. So valid liquidity, valid untapped zone, and we have everything we want to see for a move in the other direction. Now, of course, the power with these zones is that when the candles come back to them, that's really all that happens. It's one candle in the zone and then it takes off. That's why we can get such good risk reward in the first place. And if you come over to this trade right here, you can see exactly that playing out. So this one, if I put it in replay mode, at the time of this trade, exactly the same structure, clearly taking out highs, and so we were bullish. Now, when we look at this close up, we didn't take out the overall high to the left right here, but there was absolutely no shift in structure, so there's no reason to not be taking demands just because of that. The only thing was that we had news coming out later in the day, and the zone itself just wasn't the best quality because of how we were sort of slowly consolidating here, not moving much, taking out this high. So I decided not to take it just with the fact that it was NFP day. Any other day of the week and I would have taken this one. So again, another unlucky news related issue with this trade, but it just shows price action playing out very nicely. Very simple, liquidity in front of the zone. Did it take out its own highs? Yes, it did right here. Broke its own high, comes back down, wipes liquidity, taps into the untapped zone, and then it's ready to take off. 1-2 candles in the zone. Enter on the first bullish close, off it goes, and it never comes back. So very simple. You can see the power that these zones have and how simple it is to actually take the trades. High risk reward, so there's no real questions about what you're doing. Once you have the trend and once you have a zone, you're just simply entering. Once it taps, it gives an entry. So yeah, that's exactly what we saw here. TP1, when you're aiming for 1 to 10, we usually take TP1. 1 to 10 is our max risk to reward. This one just happened to perfectly line up with this overall high, which would have been the furthest target regardless of if it was a 1 to 10 or not. So essentially it was a perfect TP right there to take, and you can see as soon as we took out that high, immediately crashed to the downside. I'm assuming this was probably news related because that's not exactly normal movement. But anyways, we still saw perfect price action playing out, and we've been seeing this across multiple pairs since that 34% in 2 weeks video. The markets are definitely back. They've been playing out very nicely. This was a 1 to 8.5 on GN, and yeah, this one I believe was in the video. UJ 1 to 7, and yeah, we've just seen trades all over the place taking off, zones consistently respecting. So it's very nice to see price action coming back, the tariff stuff being finalized, and all the price action in the markets. This is how it was for the whole of 2024. So you can see how easy it is when the markets are performing normally to be profitable with the strategy. The zones are simple, the risk reward is high. You essentially have everything you want for a serious strategy. It's not on lower time frames, so it's easy to only take a certain amount of trades, actually following a good edge. And that's exactly what we saw here. So those are the 2 trades for today. Unfortunately, I got unlucky with the news and just didn't take any profit from them, but it happens. All you have to do, like I said, just don't take it personally, because it can feel like the markets are almost attacking you or doing something to you, but you only feel like that because you're attaching yourself to the markets when you have to be unbiased. The markets don't have anything to do with you, nothing to do with your strategy, and it's that simple. So that is it for today's video. Nice to see the markets back, and yeah, hopefully I can get involved in some of these wins eventually. Until then, the 5-minute time frame has been very nice for me recently, so I'm chilling anyways. But yeah. Alright, one last thing here. You guys have been requesting this for a long time, so I finally opened a free Discord channel. Link will be in the description, so be sure to check it out. We got some free content in here, and occasionally I'll probably do some streams answering you guys' questions. But now though, just some stuff that I'll be posting occasionally that isn't on the YouTube channel, so be sure to go and check that out. I'll leave the link in the description, and that is all for today's video.